Hey everyone, and welcome back to Logan's Voice. I'm Doug Ballinger, Logan's dad, and today's episode is one I wish we didn't have to talk about, but one I know that is urgently needed. We're going to talk about how to have honest, compassionate conversations with preteens. Yes, I'm talking about ages 9 to 13, about the very real dangers of today's drug landscape, the pressures they face from peers, and how we as parents, caregivers, and mentors can be the safe space they need to navigate it all. Let's be clear, this is not the world we grew up in. When we were kids, the warning was about weed or maybe beer in someone's basement. Today, one pill, one hit, one bad decision can mean death. Fake pills made to look like Xanax, Adderall, or Percocet are flooding our communities. They're often laced with fentanyl, a drug so potent that even the tiniest amount can kill. And the saddest part is, kids don't even know what they're taking. They think it's a real pill. They think it's safe because it came from a friend or someone online. I'm not here to scare you. I'm here to prepare you. Because the truth is, we can't protect our kids from everything, but we can teach them how to think critically, how to stay safe, and how to come to us when something doesn't feel right. I lost my son Logan to fentanyl poisoning. He was 32 years old, and his story is the reason I sit behind this microphone. But this episode isn't just about older teens or adults struggling with addiction. It's about the age where it starts, the whispers in the hallways, the first experiences with peer pressure, and the questions kids are often too afraid to ask. So today, we're going to break that silence. We're going to talk about how to meet our kids where they are with honesty, with empathy, and zero judgment. Because every child deserves a trusted adult they can turn to before it's too late. Let's talk about how we become that safe space. Let's talk about understanding the risk. Before we can talk to our kids, we need to understand what they're actually up against. Let me start with the hard truth. Today's drug supply is not the same as it was even 10 years ago. This isn't just about kids getting into someone's liquor cabinet or trying a little weed at a party. This is about a drug landscape that has turned deadly, with pills and powders that look real but are anything but safe. We're seeing more and more counterfeit pills being made to look like legitimate prescriptions. Xanax, Percocet, Adderall, even Tylenol. They look identical, but they're laced with fentanyl, a synthetic opioid that's 50 to 100 times stronger than morphine. Sometimes there's also xylazine, a veterinary tranquilizer that's not even meant for humans. It doesn't respond to Narcan, and it's showing up in more and more toxicology reports, including Logan's. Here's the scariest part. Preteens, 10, 11, 12, are not just hearing about this, they're being exposed to it. Not always in obvious ways. Sometimes it starts with curiosity or a friend joking about trying something once. Sometimes it's just a photo on Snapchat or a stranger sending a message through an online game offering a pill that helps with stress. And our kids, who are still forming their understanding of danger, might think, well, if it looks like medicine, it must be okay. I want to pause here and say something important. This is not about blaming parents. You're not failing. But if no one ever told you that the drug landscape had changed this much, it would be easy to miss just how young it starts. We used to think these conversations could wait until high school, but now, in some communities, 6th grade is already too late. Think about that. You've got kids who still wear cartoon pajamas, who still believe in Santa being exposed to life or death decisions before their brains are even ready to fully grasp the consequences. And when something tragic happens, the world says things like, they should have known better. But how could they? Who told them? That's where we come in. You don't have to be an expert on fentanyl to start the conversation. You just have to be willing to say, this world is different now, and I want to help you stay safe. Here's a simple phrase you can remember. Curiosity is natural. Silence is dangerous. It's not wrong for a kid to be curious. That's how they learn. But when they don't feel safe asking questions, they start learning from the wrong places. TikTok, peers, strangers on the internet. Let's give them a better option, us. And to do that, we've got to get comfortable talking about the uncomfortable. So let's talk about how to start the conversation. Now that we understand what our kids are up against, the question becomes, how do I even begin this conversation? The truth is, most of us weren't taught how to talk about drugs with compassion. We either got the just say no speech or silence. But silence doesn't protect our kids. Connection does. And that connection starts with conversation. Honest, open, age-appropriate conversation that doesn't shame or scare, but equips them. Let's talk about the when, the how, and the what of starting the talk. When to talk. Forget the idea that this has to be a formal sit down at the kitchen table talk. The kind of setup can actually feel intimidating for a child. Instead, look for casual, low-pressure moments. Car rides. There's no direct eye contact, which makes it easier for kids to open up. Or do it while you're cooking together. Or taking a walk. Or playing a game. After a TV show or news story that touches on drugs or peer pressure. These moments feel natural. And that's the key. Don't force it. Just stay open. So how do we talk? Your tone matters more than your words. If you come in with fear, judgment, or interrogation, they'll simply shut down. But if you show up with curiosity, calm, and care, they feel that. Here are some soft entry points you can use. Hey, I read something today that really surprised me. Can I share it with you? Or, I know you're hearing things at school or online. Is there anything you've been wondering about that you haven't wanted to ask? Or if someone ever offered you a pill or a vape or anything weird, would you feel okay telling me? I promise I won't freak out. I just want to help you be safe. So let them know you're not trying to trap them, that they're not in trouble, and that they can tell you anything, even if it's awkward, even if they've already tried something. Kids will match your energy. If you stay calm and open, they're more likely to do the same. So what do you say? Let's be real. Most preteens already know more than we think. So instead of dumping information on them, ask questions and let them do the talking. Here's what they need to hear. You might be curious about drugs or pills. That's totally normal. Curiosity doesn't make you a bad person or broken. The problem is people are dying from things they didn't even know were dangerous. I want to make sure that doesn't happen to you. Or something like, if someone ever pressures you, you don't have to handle it alone. You can come to me no matter what. Normalize the idea that saying, I don't know or I'm scared is okay. That asking questions is not a sign of weakness, it's a sign of wisdom. And here's something powerful to tell them. There's nothing you could tell me that would make me stop loving you. My job isn't to be perfect, it's to be here, no matter what. I'm going to say that again. There is nothing you could tell me that would make me stop loving you. My job isn't to be perfect, it's to be here, no matter what. That single message can create more safety than 100 lectures. Let's teach our kids to talk before there's a crisis. Let's create space before they make a mistake. And if they do make a mistake, let's be the kind of adults they feel safe turning to. Because when it comes to staying safe in today's world, the most powerful tool that your child has is knowing they can come to you without fear. Next, we're going to talk about creating a safe, judgment-free space. You can have all the facts, you can say all the right words, but none of it will matter if your child doesn't feel emotionally safe. Let me say this as clearly as I can. The greatest protection we can offer our kids is a relationship where they feel seen, heard, and unconditionally accepted. Because when they feel safe talking to us, they won't have to hide. And when they don't have to hide, they're far more likely to ask questions, admit mistakes, and ask for help before it's too late. So, what makes a space feel safe? It's not just about telling your child they can talk to you, it's about showing them over and over again that they can. Here's what safe adults do: they don't overreact. That one's tough. If your kid says, "Someone offered me a vape," and your response is a panic or punishment, guess what? They won't tell you next time. Reacting calmly, even when you're scared, tells them you can handle the truth. And they listen more than they lecture. A preteen isn't looking for a 10-minute monologue. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can say is, "Wow, thank you for telling me. That must have felt scary." And those parents let kids feel what they feel. Preteens are in the messy middle. They're not little kids, but they're not adults either. They need room to say, "I'm confused, I'm curious, I'm embarrassed, I messed up." Creating a safe space means making room for their emotions, even the uncomfortable ones. And give them language that empowers them. Let's equip our kids with short, confident phrases they can actually use when they feel pressure. Like, "Nah, I'm good." Or, "Nah, I don't mess with that. My mom would kill me," but not for telling her, for hiding it. Or simply, "It's not worth it." Practice these. Role play them. Make it normal, not weird, to say no. Also remind them they never have to explain their no. No is a full sentence. Show them vulnerability. One of the most powerful ways to connect is to share your own struggle, age appropriately, and without glorifying it. You can say, "When I was your age, I felt pressure to fit in too." Or, "I didn't always make the best choices, and I wish someone had told me it was okay to say no." Or, "I want better for you, not because you have to be perfect, but because I've learned how hard those roads can be." When you show them your humanity, you give them permission to show theirs. So here's what safe adults don't do. Let's be real. Even with the best intentions, we sometimes do things that shut conversations down. So here are a few habits to avoid. Don't interrupt with the advice before they finish talking. Don't make it about you. Let them stay the focus. Don't turn every issue into a punishment. Discipline has its place, but not when your kid is asking for help. The bottom line is, your child ever says, "I need to tell you something, I did something dumb," or "Please don't be mad at me, but," take a pause, take a deep breath, and say, "Thank you for telling me. I'm proud of you for being honest. Let's figure this out together." That moment right there might save their life. Not because you had the perfect answer, but because they knew they didn't have to hide. And that kind of safety, that's the foundation everything else is built on. So now let's go over some practical tools and what ifs. We've talked about the risk. We've talked about the conversation. We've talked about how to create safety. Now let's talk about the real life moments your child might face and how to prepare them. Because here's the thing. Kids don't always get into trouble because they're reckless. They get into trouble because they panic, because they don't know what to do, because they've never practiced the what ifs. So let's change that. What if they find a pill? Let's say your preteen is in the bathroom at school and finds a pill on the sink. It looks like candy. It's blue. It's stamped M30. But we know that pill could be a counterfeit oxycodone laced with fentanyl or xylazine. You can ask your child, "If you found a pill at school, what would you do?" And if they don't know, walk through it. Don't touch it. Don't try to figure out what it is. Tell an adult you trust right away. Give them permission to report something without feeling like a tattletale. We need to reframe reporting as an act of bravery, not betrayal. So, what if a friend offers you something? Here's a big one. What would you do if someone you liked or trusted tried to get you to vape or take a pill? You might be surprised how many kids freeze in those moments, not because they want to say yes, but because they don't know how to say no and keep that friendship. So help them practice. I'm not into that. No, I don't mess with stuff like that. Or that's not my thing, but we're still cool. And here's the lifeline. If you ever feel stuck and don't know how to get out of a situation, text me a code word. I'll come get you. No questions asked. Just safety first. Establish a family code word. Something funny, random, or secret. For example, purple dinosaur. If they text that word, you call or show up with no judgment. That gives them an exit plan in the moment, and that can save their life. Or what if someone contacts them online? Online drug deals aren't just happening to teens, they're happening to kids as young as 10. They might get a message like, hey, this helps with stress, or it's totally safe. I use them all the time, or I can drop it in your mailbox. No one has to know. Let your child know people lie online. Even if someone looks like a kid, they might be an adult. No real friend tries to get you to do something risky. Tell them, if you ever get a message like that, you can show me right away. You won't get in trouble. I'll be proud of you for trusting me. And talk about naloxone or Narcan. Even though we pray our kids never need it, they should know what Narcan is, that it can reverse an opioid overdose, that it's safe and legal to carry in many places, and that anyone can learn to use it. Yes, even a kid. You don't need to make it graphic. Just say, there's medicine called Narcan. If someone ever took something and stopped breathing, it can help bring them back. If you ever see it in your school or a public place, that's what it's for. It's not about making them responsible for saving a life. It's about giving them awareness, because awareness is power. Making a family safety plan is another good idea. And those include safe words, trusted adults, where the Narcan is located, clear boundaries and expectations without shame or fear. Let your child know you never have to go through anything alone. If you're scared, confused, or even if you made a mistake, I want you to come to me. I will always help you figure it out. That's not weakness. That's strength. That's love in action. If you've made it this far in the episode, I want to thank you for listening. Just listening to this, just being willing to think about these conversations mean you're already doing something powerful. You're showing up for the young people in your life. And in today's world, where kids are bombarded with misinformation, temptation, and pressure from every angle, that matters more than you may ever know. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to have a degree in addiction science or know all the right words. You just need to be present, willing, open, and safe. These conversations won't always be easy. Your child might roll their eyes. They might say, I already know that. But what they're really saying is, I'm listening. Because when you create a home or a classroom or a youth group where kids know they can talk about hard things without fear or judgment, you've already done something that can literally save a life. I lost Logan in May of 2020. He didn't die because he was a bad person. He died because the world lied to him. Because he believed the dose he took was something it wasn't. And I will never stop using my voice to make sure other families don't have to live through that kind of pain. So if you're a parent, a teacher, a coach, an aunt or uncle, grandparent, whatever role you play in a child's life, lean in, be curious, be honest, and more than anything else, be safe to come to. Because kids don't need a perfect adult. They need a consistent one, a calm one, a real one. And if you've never said this to your child, I encourage you to say it today. There is nothing you could tell me that would make me stop loving you. I may not always agree with your choices, but I will always walk beside you. That message could be the difference between silence and safety, between fear and freedom, between a crisis and a conversation. You don't need to wait until something bad happens to be the safe space. You can be that today, right now. And if you're listening to this and you've already lost a child like I have, I want you to know you still have a voice, you still have wisdom, and you still have the power to protect someone else's child by sharing what you've learned. Let's keep talking, let's keep listening, and let's keep building a world where kids don't have to be afraid to tell the truth and where they know they are never alone. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being part of Logan's Voice. And as always, if this message moved you, please share it, because the more we talk about this, the more we can save lives. Stay safe, stay kind, and stay loud in love. Until next time, I'm Doug Ballinger. I am Logan's voice. I am Logan's dad, and I will not be silent.